to play the West Indies. A signal from the umpire. The match is going to start. The cricketers come on the field. They all look very smart. Irapali Prasana, Gigi Boy and Wadeka, Krishna Murthy and Vishnu Mankad. Them boys could well play cricket on any kind of wicket. They make the West Indies team look so bad. We was in all kind of trouble. Joey Carew pull a muscle. Clive Lloyd get about 3 run out. We was in trouble without a doubt. It was Gavaskar, the real master, just like a wall. We couldn't out Gavaskar at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all. Venkataraghavan, Bedi in a turban, Vijay Jaishima, Jayantilal. They helped to win the series against the West Indies at Sabina Park and Queen's Park Oval. 158 by Kanai really sent our hopes up high. Noriega 9 for 95. The Indian team, they still survive. It was Gavaskar, the real master, just like a wall. We couldn't out Gavaskar at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all. Janjurani, Solka Abidali, Dilip Sadesai and Vishwanath. They make West Indies bowlers look like second-raters when those fellows came out here to bat. West Indies try holder and keep voice. They had no other choice. They who try with Newton Dow, but a shot at the sorry they bring him now. It was Gavaskar, the real master, just like a wall. We couldn't out Gavaskar at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all. Little Desmond Lewis, also Charlie Davis, they take a little shame from out we face. But Sobers as a captain, he want plenty coaching before we cricket end up in a disgrace. Beatty here that he became a father, he catch out Holford in the cover. But when Sobers here, he too had a son. He made duck and went back in the pavilion. It was Gavaskar, the real master, just like a wall. We couldn't out Gavaskar at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all.
Good afternoon to all my listeners. Good afternoon to all those of you who, as usual, as customary, have left work after a hard day's work. And for those of you who are now picking up shift, we want to say good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to members of the commuting public, workers, businessmen, members of the society, protective services, those of you maxi drivers, taxi drivers, those of you on the hustle and the bustle, those of you who transport people from one place to another. We say good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to the owners and operators of this great radio station, Mr. Neil Iwer George himself and his family, and by extension his staff. We cannot fail and must not fail to say thanks to you and good evening to you, and thank you for allowing us to share your microphone unhinged. And I underline that this is the Third Empire, so we welcome all comments, all criticisms. It's a nice game of cricket, and we use the cricket analogy to analyze and deconstruct issues in our society. So, on that note, members of the pavilion, which are all of you who call, we must say good afternoon to you and welcome, and thank you for joining us on this afternoon. Thank you for helping us deconstruct some issues. Thank you for calling in, sharing your opinions. Keep the opinions coming. Keep the suggestions coming. We tend to try to make we endeavor to make the program a little more solution oriented and not just a complaint program. You have enough avenues for that. So be mindful when you call. We do want you to have suggestions and solutions, and who knows where your solutions and your suggestions will reach. On that note, having gone 2 funerals today, we must thank God for life. That is one thing we all share, we all have in common, life, and that makes all of us one. Because without that, we will not be able to observe, participate, share, criticize, comment on this lovely game of life, which is cricket. So I'm reading from the Caribbean Beat magazine, an article written by the Caribbean Beat in the Caribbean Beat magazine years ago. Beyond the Boundary is a story of one man's love for cricket. It starts with a childhood image of young James, and by that they mean CLR James, watching the local village teams practice from his bedroom window. One player in normal life, in an uncouth and obnoxious man, becomes transformed into a figure of grace, and subtly when batting, Matthew, so crude and vulgar in every aspect of his life, he remembers, with his bat in his hand, was all grace and style. Even as a child, James recognized the transcendental power of cricket, the sheer magic of style, the way in which it reveals hitherto unknown skills and qualities in ordinary people. This theme of cricket's alchemical quality, of its ability to bring out the best in individuals, runs through the book. But James' early experiences of cricket were not all so inspiring. A scholarship education modeled on British public school lines equipped him with a love for literature, a strong streak of Puritanism, and that most colonial of attributes, a sense of fair play. But fairness in the 1920s Trinidad had its limits, mostly delineated by class and color. The various cricket clubs were rigidly demarcated by race and money as most snobbish of the British golf clubs. It was inconceivable that a dark-skinned Trinidadian could play for the elitist Queen's Park Club or white-dominated Shannon Club. The institutions of sport thus faithfully mirrored the society from which they had grown, and that society was on the edge of upheaval and change. The institutions of the sport thus faithfully mirrored the society from which they had grown, and that society was on the edge of upheaval and change. That society is the Trinidad and Tobago Society. That society in 2026 is the Trinidadian Society, the Trinidad and Tobago Society. And today we have had further updates on the missing kid. Updates which suggest and confirmed, we will see later in the news officially, that the father is now helping with the investigation with some more information on his own, which has made the whole scenario turn in a different light. There were suspicions before, and there are still unconfirmed reports. I guess we await the news tonight to get further details, as much as can be shared, because you would respect and expect that this is a sensitive matter. What has been revealed thus far in the search of the boy Angelo. But it has been confirmed via the news media that his stepfather, his stepfather, corrected, is assisting police at this time. When the program started with Watch Out My Children by Rashorty I, a very, very famous and very instructive, very prominent musical rendition, Calypso by the late Rashorty I, which warns us about the fella called Lucifer and his bag of white powder. This situation bears similarity in some ways. There's no white powder, but there's definitely a devil among us in different forms. And if you think that that is old talk, the Express reminds us about the boy in the cane field. If there's one case and one location that represents the depths of depravity and sickness of mind, the resilience of a survivor, and the tortuously slow pace of our justice system, is the case of 6-year-old Sean Luke, found in the cane fields of Orange Valley, Couva. They are crimes that become part of the nation's consciousness, crimes so horrifying that people remember exactly where they were when they heard the news. Sean Luke's murder in March 2026 was one of them. It was not simply the brutality of the killing that scarred the country. It was the innocence of the victim and unimaginable cruelty inflicted upon him, and the years and years of legal drift that followed. For Pauline Barrett, Sean's mother, she became, as those close to her said, a shell. The reporter was among the first journalists at the crime scene 20 years ago in March 2006. 2 days earlier, Sean had vanished after leaving his Henry Street Couva home. According to the state's case, 2 teenagers, then 13 and 16, lured him with a promise of fishing trip in a nearby river. Several other boys walked with them through the tracks, cutting through the cane fields. Then came the moment, repeatedly, endlessly, through courts, transcripts, statements, and appeals. The 2 accused, along with Sean and another child, reportedly veered into the cane. The others waited on the road. A short while later, a scream was heard and Sean was never seen again. 2 days later, his decomposed body was discovered in the field. The details of the autopsy remained the most horrifying ever recorded in this country's criminal history. Forensic pathologist Dr. Boris concluded that the child died from massive internal bleeding and organ destruction after being sodomized by a cane stalk. Scientific evidence also indicated sperm cells, and it goes on to a lot more graphic details which I would skip. The trial dragged on for years. Years became decades. By July 2021, 15 years after Sean's murder, Justice Lisa Ramsey Hines convicted both men following a judge-alone trial. Even then, Barrett said she did not feel, which is a mother, that justice had truly arrived. What can I get here? She really asked. The only justice I want is to get back my son, and I can't get that. In July 2022, this is the part I want us to focus on, the entire case collapsed again. The state conceded key portions of the appeal. Deputy DPP George Busby informed the Court of Appeal that the prosecution could not defend several grounds advanced by attorneys. The convictions were quashed and a retrial ordered. After 16 years of imprisonment and conviction, Chatu and Mitchell were once again legally innocent men awaiting trial. When the written judgment was finally issued in May 2024, it laid bare not only the complexity of the case, but the profound difficulties facing Trinidad and Tobago's criminal justice system. The appellate judges did not minimize the horror of Sean's death. Instead, they examined whether legal reasoning supporting the convictions met the standards required by law. Again, the judgment returned to one central issue, the adequacy of trial judges' reasoning. The court held that while Justice Ramsey Hines produced a lengthy judgment, critical inferential findings lacked sufficient evidential foundation. The Court of Appeal found these conclusions unsupported by available evidence. The court further criticized the handling of DNA evidence, concerns regarding witnesses, and failure to properly consider alternative verdicts. The appellate judges cited other jurisdictions in their deliberations. The case became a case about the justice system itself. And meanwhile, Barrett continued living in a state somewhere between grief and survival. The only thing she didn't do was go mad. Her mother told this reporter years ago. She just shut down. She couldn't move, she couldn't talk, she couldn't do anything. "20 years and 3 months after one of the most monstrous crimes in our long and violent history, Chatu and Mitchell remain in prison, awaiting retrial, innocent in the eyes of the law until proven otherwise. Sean Luke would have turned 27 years old this August. Indeed, the details of this story, and we did talk about Akil Chambers on Monday and other similar stories, reveal the dark side of this flamboyant, carnivalesque society where God is a Trinity, we love each other, and we have so much love for each other, nothing bad could happen. That too is a lie. Young Angelo has disappeared. quote unquote. And hopefully, with the trust and the help of the police, we do get to the issues. We do get to solve the case of the young toddler, and we do pledge our support for the family. But my question is this afternoon. When it comes to human beings, male and females, Trinis, we're talking about Trinis, we local here, in relationships with very, very disturbing characteristics. Are there any things that we see? Are there any signs? Is all of this a surprise? Does a man or woman wake up one day and harm a child? If that be the case, what brings someone to that edge? Are we doing enough as a society to educate our young people? And notably, they were two young people relatively, about their choices, about the pros and cons, the dangers, the pitfalls when coming together, either mother, father, or father, stepmother, or mother, stepfather. Do you think we're doing enough in that scenario to protect our children? Do you think this is time for the state? Last time we spoke about parenting. We're going a little different today. Do you think it's time for the state to get more granular when it comes to child and children issues and issues, domestic issues involving children? I want your advice. The number to call is 3420081 4665391. Are there signs that we ignore? Are there signs in human beings that we ignore? Is everything just a surprise? Is everything just a surprise, spur of the moment? Are there things that we have been ignoring? Are there truths and realities that we fail to admit in these type of relationships? Maybe one reality is when it should end. You know, we call for law enforcement, and that is often on the latter side. But what about our personal responsibility? I want you to give me a call today, 3420081 4665391. And you tell me from your own experience, from what you've read, from what you've seen. You are the social scientist today in the pavilion. You have been on this earth a number of years, and you've had good experience. It's not only the cricketers in the field have experience. You have your little experience. You might be a Brian Lara. But I want you to call in this afternoon and tell me, do we ignore signs? Do we see signs and ignore them? Does behavior like this pop out of nowhere? Absolutely. You know, we say that people don't wear signs on their back. You know, you can't tell who is a good woman, who is a good man, just by looking at them. And obviously, having children does not acquire any type of certification. But what can we do as a society to stave off some of these violent acts against children? Are we ignoring the signs? Have we been seeing the signs in our children, whether it's children or in our spouse, in our relationships, and we wait too late? Good afternoon, caller.
In our relationships, and we need to.
Good afternoon,
Good
caller.
afternoon, hello.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
No complaint, we dealing with the issues. I must say condolences to the young guy who be talk like to be on the father side, not in the mother and the stepfather were misleading the nation and all our resources. The government had to put out to find the child, and allegedly the boy confessed. Even if he confessed on that police brutality, because you confess and they didn't find the body yet. You know? They didn't put no disclosure, nothing at all yet. So he was to go and ever we bury the body, we put the body. The police was to lay there and let you go and get the disclosure and get the youth there. But when I know that was a young mother and a young guy, right? I was watching on Ian Allen. I said, good afternoon to Ian Allen for the good job you was doing, and also the Lila who was doing investigation on social media and lead the police. I was taking Ian Allen and I was listening to the mother. I was talking when Ian Allen was interviewing the mother. Mother and son has a communication. And she said, "This big volume, more than this, actually, everything to God and this and that and all kind of thing." She's son. She aware about that case where she son do that child. Because the information coming out like broad like daylight. And plus to that, they talk about too much of the nation children that's dying all over the place. Yeah, their child get shot in a car. A 9-year-old. Some kind of spirit roaming this country, but you know the devil like little children. So, you have to say a person with nation training them, man. If you have to train them down, we're going to future doctors, lawyers, judges, I think. We have to take care of the children, man. Plenty of children too, they grow up in broken homes. They eat in the right way, you know, they're going by social development, they get neglect. When they go by social development, they have to wait a whole year to get a food stamp. They come in and give you a visit. When they give you the visit, they tell them bring back this, bring back that. Who help you to give you a hamper? Who help you to give you some food? Who help you to pay the rent just to get a food stamp? They make it real hard for the citizens and the lower class citizens in social development. Look, so last year, December, I said for a food stamp, they come and give me all the railroad authorities. Check this, check that, see if I have about 5 TV, about 5 bed. They see a dance all the chairs move out and gone. I wait about 8 months, they call me. When they call me now, I say, put up for the car, they don't call back for the same regular documents, you know. All me tell you, man, hall. But good thing is I'm going to do my better, my skills and stuff like that. So why is he putting in that food stamp? I'm trying to would have starved, they would have died. But I read people out there, hungry mothers and fathers out there going through them frustration thing. So, you see the authorities, who on top, they have to come and see about the poor and the needy and go by them people and them do like in the schools, see how the children them going. Like the little guy who come in the school the other day with the bus of shoes, they take picture of that guy, papa show that guy. When they go on social media, now the social development going by the place, so the guy was living, go citizens come out and reach out to the guy, buy the shoes, food stuff, and when we get a little assistance to fix the place. If you're under poor pressure now, he could have damaged that student in school. So the nation, those in authority take care of the children and them too. Them have to get blame. So bless.
Okay, caller. Thanks for your contribution. How many of us see these disturbing signs, characteristics, and maybe call it rumors, mischief, chaos, commerce, bacchanal, and we ignore it? We're not saying you can't go on every hunch and you can't listen to every bark. But have we been ignoring some signposts? Or would you argue there are none? These are just random acts. As we say, people trip off. What do you think? Do you think we ignore some of the signs we see because maybe mommy has to survive or daddy needs help, and they ignore how their partner treats with the children for survival, for whatever end? To whatever end do you think? Or do you think these are just unexplained, egregious acts that, we have to treat with as a society? Give me a call. The number is 3420081 4665391. The number is 3420081 4665391. What do you think this afternoon? Do we see signs in people? Do we see signs in others? Are we taking time to know people in relationships anymore? Are you taking time to know how people will treat our kids before exposing them to our kids? Or we speeding? Are we taking that time before we leave our children in the care of a stepmom or a stepdad or an uncle or a little brother or a big sister? Are we taking the time to make serious decisions concerning children or our partners in relationships? Or are we ignoring the facts? Have we been ignoring the facts? And sometimes the facts comes from different means. Sometimes it's a neighbor, a cousin, an auntie, and we say, oh God, she don't like nobody, he don't like nobody, he always negative, she always negative. Is it that we get warnings sometimes and we ignore? Is it that we are warned, we pull away, we stop talk, them too fast, them always in my business? Is it that we ignore the signposts? Now, this is society we're talking about. This is a human being. And human beings are very, very, very cunning, and they can adapt. But when it comes to children and responsibility for children, do we take the time? Do you get the feeling that we are taking the time to make that decision in with whom we leave our children, in whose care we leave our children? Are we taking the time to really, really, really ponder? Or are we victims of necessity? You might have to go to work. You might have to get a little food. Wagadu. The man feeding the children. Daddy gone. Or mommy gone. Whatever the complaint may be. We may not know the facts. How do you see it this afternoon in your neck of the woods, in your little sphere, in your little community, in your little family circle, in your little religious circle, in your little school or work circle, in your little street, your little neighborhood? How do you see it this afternoon? How do you see it? Are we holding ourselves responsible? Or are we just always blaming somebody else, something else, the society, poverty? You name it. There can be many things we can blame. What are your opinions? How you think we're doing on that social scale this afternoon? How you think, how do you measure? Are we taking our own responsibility? Are we ignoring the signs that we might have seen or heard? Do we ignore it to our own peril? Do we ignore it at the price of the safety of our children? Or is it that, boy, you have to mind your business these days now? You can't tell them nothing. You can't tell she anything. First thing she will say is that you don't like the man. First thing he will say is that you don't like the girl. And you're wicked and you're bad. And we cut everybody out. And we go down a very dark, dark, dark road that leads in death of both people, one person, or everybody involved. As a society, are we being real? James talked that he said cricket revealed a lot of dark things about the West Indian society. And I just feel that ever so often, apart from all the discussions we have on all the money issues and there are certain dark issues that we try to skip away from. We try to ignore. And ever so often it peeks its head, it rears its head by way of death of a young child, a young baby, a young person. How have we been doing as a society? How have we been doing? The number to call is 3420081 4665391. The number to call is 3420081 4665391. You tell me this afternoon. You tell me this afternoon. How do you see it? What have we been doing? How have we been doing as a society? How have we been doing? And while I wait your call, I welcome Senior Matheson is here. Senior Matheson, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. And good afternoon to all our listeners. Yeah. Good afternoon to all our listeners also. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. A lovely evening. It's not too hot, not wet at all. And it's a lovely evening for driving home in traffic, listening to the Third Empire show.
Yes.
Very interesting discussion also. It's a discussion that we've been on for most of the week.
Yes.
Yesterday we dealt with almost the same thing that you weren't here, but we dealt with almost the same thing you were discussing this evening. And it will be interesting to hear from this perspective, the signs. Are we observing the signs? Are we seeing it? Man or woman?
Man or woman? Because, we talk about the police, and the police, at this time, the police is searching for a body. Mm-hmm. All the social interaction before is between two people, a man and a woman, and the police can't get involved there.
Yeah.
We have not heard about police reports against the young man.
So oftentimes we talk about the police involvement, but the police only get involvement when involvement is needed.
Yes.
Most of the times things happen quietly, things are going on, and police is not there. The government is not there.
Correct.
So you always have to reference what the former prime minister would have said about that. You have to choose wisely. You have to be responsible. You have to know who is in your life, who is in your family life. And people have to start to take personal responsibility in Trinidad and Tobago.
Especially when children are around and children are involved. I've always heard some young ladies say, unless the relationship is at a particular level, they don't bring men around their children. Or anybody for that.
There are a lot of women who thinks like that, and that's for good reason.
And for good reason.
For good reason. So, it's sad, and we said this over and over yesterday. It's really sad what happened in Tobago and what keep happening with children, because it kind of sounds like a recurring decimal. Often, it's too often you hear about violence against children. Some of them are things that would have happened not directly, indirectly, but violence nonetheless against children. And this is some of those that would have happened in the vehicle, the two shooting in the vehicle a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Maybe as inadvertently as it may sound, it's still violence against children, and we have to, see that as for what it is.
Now, tied to this whole issue of this stepfather, we do not know what were the circumstances. Because let's not kid ourselves. Two people let's make a child. And unless one gone to Mars and other one gone to Venus, or somebody dies, there are always two people. Whether we could find them or not, whether they confess or not, whether they abscond or not, there's always two people. And so biologically, it's always two people.
Yeah.
That's the facts, right?
And even if it was an artificial insemination, it still was two.
It still was two people.
Yeah.
I don't know about the father's non-involvement, but one would ask, does he have a role to play in the larger scheme of things?
Well, yes, but the way our society is configured now, and I think you were here. We spoke about this.
No.
I think it was Monday. The way our society is configured now, sometimes even with a court order, sometimes some mothers tend to breach that and say, listen, I don't have time for that. You can't get him this weekend, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to try to oversimplify the thing or go over what we discussed
Yes,
so many
yes,
times about
yes.
relationships and
Yes.
attitudes of mothers and all the dynamics that happen, hidden dynamics that happen, which cause these kind of things. But yes, the father does have a role to play in some way or fashion, but sometimes I don't know, boy. Sometimes the mothers do, because they play the more paternal role and they have the child to the greater extent. They sometimes use the child as a bargaining chip, and in most cases it ends to the detriment of the real development of the child, and that is something we have to deal with as a society.
You're so right. You're so right. Again, the thread I'm trying to grab at is we allow people to make children and just, for one reason or another, say, well, why that is that, No, we could understand that attitude toward the relationship. Because people, for one reason or another, decide to part. You can do that. But the relationship with the child is not a relationship you should be allowed to part from.
Right. So sometimes the part might be, involuntary.
Yes.
And,
yes.
And with the
imposed.
child,
Yeah.
and that's
separation.
That's
yeah.
a problem.
Yes. Yes. And
and in this case, from what you hear the biological father saying, in this case, it appears as though the father was involuntarily kept out of the child life. It appears as though, I don't know if everything, but we heard what he said. You'd have to break it down, and
yes.
you may have to say more for us to understand or to pronounce on that. But it appears as though he was involuntarily kept out of the child's life. And it also appears as though from what I heard on social media with this Obia woman or whoever she is, from what I heard and what it appears as though the man had a problem with the child too. I don't know.
The stepfather.
Stepfather.
Yeah.
So now we're looking at a murder, and we still didn't find the child.
Yeah. So we're going to a break. And after the break, join us. We'll get into another side of the issue dealing with the judicial system in Trinidad and Tobago.
You've got bills to pay. And so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
What are you doing? Big D, big fun, KFC, so we big on the ground. The big D nation, cause you don't know we were the crown. Say what you want, KFC, so we lead in front. We are big nation, TNT and KFC, one motion.
Come to KFC, let we hold our vibe, and let we join together, because KFC is life. It's a big D.
Say what you want, KFC, so we lead in front. We are big nation, TNT and KFC, one motion.
Midweek, we got you. Sandwich Wednesdays, 2 KFC sandwiches for just $50. Double the crunch, double the flavor, double the value. Why settle? It must be KFC. Order now. Follow KFC Trinidad and Tobago WhatsApp channel for all the deals.
Water is life. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Any little leak, we gon' fix it. We gon' fix it. We gon' fix it. So anyway you see a leak, the number to call is 800-4420 or 800-4426 and report the leaks. Iwer, George and Watson say, join the evolution to save water. Water is precious. Every drop of water counts. This message is brought to you by the Water and Sewerage Authority.
TechFlex TT Limited, the #1 computer store in Trinidad and Tobago, has all your tech needs. We have the latest computers, powerful MacBooks, and affordable Chromebooks for school and work, providing new and refurbished options to suit everyone's budget. Also, we carry a variety of printer options and ink solutions for your home and office needs. Need repairs done? Our experienced technicians can solve your tech problems. Visit us now at any of our 2 locations, Wilson Road, Scarborough, next to Royal Castle, or Penco Street, Montrose, Chagonas. Call 235-4919 for more info. TechFlex TT Limited. Affordable tech. Exceptional service.
Blessings in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You are invited to listen to the Final Hour broadcast heard every Monday
from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning on the Street 919 FM.
Hear my mom, Pastor Helen Garcia, and myself, Pastor Valentine Garcia Jr., preach the Word of God to the elderly, youth, and children. We can be contacted at 629-0113 or 623-8444. The church is located at 26 Prince Street in Port of Spain. We look forward to you joining us. God bless you.
As my life I lay it on the altar, as my life.
It's a whole lot of flavor wrapped up in a twist. Some of them try to rap, but they don't rap like this. With crispy KFC tenders and lettuce and carrots and shredded tortilla embedded, perfect wherever you headed. Dripping with that creamy mayo and that mambo sauce. Let me tell them one more time to get my point across. It's a craveable, crunchable, movable, functional, flavorful meal that your taste buds must endorse. KFC, crunch twist, crunch twist. None of them, they don't make them like this.
Introducing KFC's Crunch Twist, a flavorful wrap with a delicious difference for just $29.95. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iwer George on Instagram. Share the live. Iwer TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
And we're back. And before we even go any further, we want to say hats off to the police officers who somehow intervened in a home invasion in Canopia. And I think one person was killed by the police. But we often criticize law enforcement
For not being on time.
for not being on time and not acting. And we don't celebrate anybody dying. That is not what it's about. But we do celebrate timely interventions and quick and speedy responses by law enforcement that will do well in the confidence. Hopefully it's a ethos that can spread among other members of law enforcement with all the issues we've been having. And there's an interesting article concerning the granting of a high court judge to challenge the Judicial and Legal Service Commission over its prolonged silence and failure to make a decision on a renewed complaint of judicial misconduct against 2 high court judges. The application was brought by Ronald Clive Roberts, acting as a litigant in person and as the next friend to his son, Isaiah Jabari Emmanuel Roberts, who was born with cerebral palsy following a medical negligence in 2006. The legal battle stemming from that negligence has spanned from more than a decade. The application challenges the JLC's ongoing failure to reach a decision regarding a formal complaint submitted by Roberts. In October 2024, the JLC responded, stating that the matter fell outside its remit. However, in 2025, the complainant pointed to the Privy Council judgment in Marcia A. Caesar versus the JLC as proof that the Commission claimed that it lacked jurisdiction over High Court judges was legally unsustainable. Well, one would think so.
Yeah, because if not the JLSC, who?
Well, that I was going to ask you that.
If not the JLSC, who? Are they all on their own? I mean, the Chief Justice, but it's frightening to think that it have nothing higher than that.
But it's frightening to think that this is a legal battle. That some people are, anyhow, in Animal Farm, we know.
George Orwell.
We know.
All animals are equal.
But
some are more equal than others.
Some are more equal than others. Very correct. But this issue of the JLSC points to other issues we've been having in our legal system, where everything goes into a vortex of complaints and nobody knows.
Get lost in the system.
It get lost in the system. And we keep complaining about our judicial system, our criminal justice system. But whose job is it to fix it? People say us, but is it a really us thing? For instance, can you fix that? Can I fix it? Can a group of people from Arima get together and fix it? So whose responsibility it is to fix all these kinks? We hear about, we were listening the other day and I was reading about the shortages, staff shortages in the DPP office. Whose problem is that?
Well, we know where to point the fingers. However, there are other dynamics sometimes at work that does not. Okay, so let's say staff shortage at the DPP office. Let's just say the DPP office would usually consist of and is an entity, and will usually consist of all the organs in an entity, that is necessary, right? HR and everything. But to be able to do certain things, you have to have finance. You have to be able to pay. You have to be able to the continuance of the continuance of the continuance of salary and that kind of thing over a period of time, and therefore you would have to have some kind of vote or some kind of allowance to be able to do that. If that is not available, then the DPP office may be stymied in recruiting new attorneys or new prosecutors or whatever. And it's the same thing with everything. So to ask the question as to who is responsible, we know who is responsible, but can they really do it? Has it been planned out? Has it been part of a strategic plan?
Yeah, but then the question remains: if you're saying we can't do it, and you know who's responsible and they can't do it, so you tell them it can't fix.
Well, it could be fixed, but this whole thing is about planning out a system, and we talk about this all the time about a developmental plan, which is comes out of a strategic plan, which is a microcosm of that. And the thing is, if those things happen, then every single organ of society will work properly.
Let me take this call. Good afternoon, caller.
Hey, good afternoon, Ronaldo.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for taking my call. I just want to make a couple of comments.
Yes.
Hopefully they'll be quick and I'll be able to leave you and your program. I think all our thoughts are with that child right now.
Yes.
On that child, thinking about what has happened to that child. And like you said in that news article you read out, we've been here before in Trinidad and Tobago. This is not the first time. As our society gets coarser and more violent and more unafraid of crossing lines that were hitherto kept within certain borders, we're showing our callous nature to the most vulnerable of our lot, our own children. And it says something about who we are as a people. It says something about where we're going as a nation. And I don't think the government, that infamous group, can do much to stop us from being like this. I think it goes back to individual choices, and it starts at the heart of relationships. How people connect, as you said, as you rightfully said, how people connect, why they connect, what is it supposed to lead to? I want to address something that I think it was KFC that you called him. He said in his contribution a little while ago. He made mention of how difficult it was to obtain state support. I want to remind him and everyone else who's listening that the difficulty that citizens are facing now with regard to getting state support where it is needed was caused by the very citizens who have fraudulently tried and very often succeeded in accessing state funds. Because of the barrage of fraud that has transpired in various ministries, but most notably social development, over the years, they've been forced to put barriers in place to safeguard what is in effect our money. I won't call it the government money, it's our money because of the fraud and the tendency to reveal, to do or engage in fraudulent things to get that money, which many people think is free money. You don't realize it's coming out of the workers' pocket in this country. And because of that, it has become more difficult for persons who are truly in need to get that money because everybody feels that it's free money and they're entitled to get it by hook or by crook. And they often say, do, and present documents and information that at the very surface can be automatically challenged. So that's a difficulty and a reality that a lot of Trinidadians have to deal with. I remember doing research on a murder that took place in the 80s. And to get on that information, I had to go all the way to Chaguanas, Guardian Media in Chaguanas, because they had moved their, what they call it when you, microfilm. They had moved their microfilm department all the way to Chaguanas, so I couldn't get it in person. I had to travel all the way to Chaguanas to get the information on that murder. But by virtue of going through all of the newspapers that were before and after the murder, I realized how violent Trinidad and Tobago. You forget. You live in a time, and you, particularly when you're younger, you don't really have a clear understanding of how violent this place is. And I was surprised at the amount of murders and beatings and domestic violence that was being reported on an almost daily basis in the national newspaper of record at the time. Because you go back 20 years and you see the same pattern. Dr. Rowley, some time ago, before he lost office, declared that Trinidad has always been a violent place. And this is absolutely true. People have their own heart-stricken memories of when they were young and how different it was. But if you actually read the newspaper of the day, you see clearly how violent this place is. And it has become more violent for children. And we all moan and groan and put our hands in the air and pray to God when these things happen. And then we forget. And a few months later or a few years later, it happens again. And we go through this whole morbid arrangement of emotions that is as predictable as rain. I have no more tears to cry for children who are being killed by their own, not by strangers, often by their own. I have no more tears to give for that. That is something that is deeply injured within ourselves, and I don't know how we get to undo that. I really don't. You could bring in all these psychologists, all these sociologists, all the well-meaning faith healers and people who believe in that category, but I don't think it's going to help. We have separated ourselves from what it means to be alive, what it means to be grateful for life, what it means to survive in this place. We've become almost like cannibals against one another. And it is shocking, it is frightening, and it's ever present. I hate to leave the call on such a depressing note, but that's how I feel.
Caller, stay on the line a bit. Do you think, and when you finish at bringing umpire Janos, who has just joined us, do you think we ignore some of the signs, one to another, man to woman? Or do you think, just like machines, we just trip off? A man make up one day and decide to unalive a child, or beat or kill a woman. Do you think we ignore some of the signs?
I think what typically happens in domestic situations is that you put up with a lot. Women more often than not than men, but we put up with a lot for the sake of the peace, for the sake of not being left, for the sake of not knowing where my next meal is going to come from. We put up with a lot just to get by. Yeah. And a little choke, a little slap, a little violence. I'm not going to leave the man for that. I'm not going to report to the police for that. We put up with a lot. And over time, that a lot becomes a hell of a lot. And then we end up with a murder.
Wow.
And you try to walk yourself back and you try to understand, where did I make a mistake? I thought I was doing good by myself, my children, my situation. I thought I was doing okay. And then this happens. And then you have nowhere else to turn but to look in the mirror and realize you were the problem. Forget about the outside influence. Forget about the other human being in the situation.
Yeah.
You were the problem. You failed to acknowledge the problem when it was happening. And we tend to look at lower class people, the uneducated, the ones who have been exposed to the more scientific method, as I like to call it, are the ones mostly at fault for this. But I'm sorry, that runs right through the society, at the very highest levels of society, educated people with master's degrees, doctorates. It happens right through. It's a cultural norm now. And I don't know how to track that into going back in that genie to go back into the bottle. It's out now. And I think social media, access to what's happening in other places, other human beings, have kind of fettered this reality into an ongoing mess. And, you know, I don't know. It's sad, it's sickening, it's depressing. I don't think we can catch ourselves anymore. I think I remember a few years ago when I was doing a diploma in gender and development studies, I had to interview the late Senator Louise Horn about some of the thesis I was working on. And I told her, in my view, our degradation in society started with the 70s, early 70s, when we became rich with that oil money. And she corrected me in almost a week. It wasn't then. It was when the Americans were here. And I said, oh, I didn't realize. Oh, and she wrote a book. The woman was a historian in her own right. She said, no, I could track it back to when I was in Arima as a child and I saw those American soldiers coming into my space and what was happening. I said, oh, I didn't know about that. But that's the thing. We don't know what we don't know. And I think Trinidadians are too misguided. We are too distracted. We want to get to the next thing. We've always been a forward-looking people. We want to desperately get away from that plantation reality. The hurt, the pain, the sordidness of that. We're so busy heading to the future, we forget what's happening right in front of us. Whether it's the politics, the economics, the social decay. We so want to get to the future. We jump on every technology fast and quick, thinking that's going to save us. And it's not. It's just adding to the morass. We need to stop, think, and reflect. But we don't do that here. Reports happen, documents are generated, histories are revealed, and then we move on. We dump it because, hey, that's no longer relevant. That was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It's no longer relevant to now. It has always been relevant because our people were best captured by the likes of V.S. Naipaul. I still say Miguel Street is one of the greatest literary works on Trinidad and Tobago ever. If you want to know what Trinidad and Tobago society is like, look at Miguel Street. Read Miguel Street. That story of Laura is as poignant today as it was then. I'll leave it there.
Thank you, caller. Umpire Llanos.
Hi, sir. How you doing?
You tell me. God is a Trini. We love one another here. We don't have this violence. We love everybody. This is our one in the machine trip off.
I just wanted to...
So this is something that, and I mean that is maybe Capricorn detachment.
Yeah.
It takes a little more drilling to get down to the soft, warm parts of us.
Yes.
And that's maybe a bad thing. I think Trinidad and Tobago is not having a thinking moment now. It is having a feeling moment. And rightfully so.
Yeah.
If it is that we can't mourn for this child, we've lost our soul as a nation. And the fact that universally people are hurting over this crime, it tells us that we have not lost our soul.
Yes.
Yeah, and what I would also say is that, and I mean, I have the wherewithal to not live in my own disturbance, because I'm very disturbed about the incident as well.
Yes.
But that's not on the surface for me. There are a few systemic things on the surface for me, and one of the things that I have to say to everybody, and they wouldn't believe me today because they still feel it, but in a few days we will remember that one monster does not, 2 monsters, 10 monsters, 100 monsters do not define our society.
Okay. No, you go ahead until the caller calls back.
Yeah.
Then I'll take the call.
That
Caller,
is
you can call back. Go ahead, umpire.
That is something that we are to be mindful of here. That this gentleman did something monstrous, and he probably did something monstrous because he was an ill-formed. He has an ill-formed personality. He has an ill-formed psyche. So he does monstrous things, so he did something monstrous. That don't make us all monsters.
Hold your thought there, umpire. Good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon, Mr. Rolox.
Good afternoon.
And Mr. Your co-host, I can't remember, Llanos or things like his name.
Yes.
Yes, I listened to your topic this afternoon with respect to what it has to do with the social services.
Yeah.
And are the social services adequate? Or is it in fact, has it moved or morphed in terms of coping or dealing with the current issues, social issues that confront this society? I don't think so. And for example, we would talk about, I just want to stray a bit from it. If you look at probation and whatnot, if we go in the Caribbean and we look at the CARICOM, Jamaica introduced parole many decades ago. So we're playing catch up. The penal system is far different from what we have there today. And as a matter of fact, it's fashioned after the British. And, to me, they are advanced. In Trinidad, the whole question of social services even though you have a child, what they call children's authority and whatnot, I don't know whether in fact it is adequately staffed and whether you have the people with the competence to deal with it, whether in fact it is well resourced, it is adequately resourced, and whether in fact again is proper or coordination among the different institutions, social institutions. I don't know, but I'm saying that if you go to more developed countries, and I look at best practice, so I would go to England, I would go to Canada, and those. They have their problems too, eh? They have their problems with respect to dealing with social issues. And the question of, when you look at what transpired with respect to the killing of the child and women and all that, recently they had a matter in England there, where a gentleman on the street stabbed a woman, but he had mental problems. So how do you deal with people who are afflicted with mental problems, and whether in fact they adequately deal with those people, in fact identify those people and treat those people, diagnose and treat those people, and within the institution, the arrangement that they have in England. But coming back to Trinidad here, you have social workers, and in the past, there's some people don't like to hear about it, but you can't really. You have certain institutions that, they were there and they serve the purpose. You tend to get away from them, move away from them. For example, you had in the community, you had the health centers and whatnot, and you had nurses there. They had home visits and whatnot. The parents would bring the children to the health center. They provided them with milk and all these different things, nutrition for children and all that. That no longer exists, as far as I'm aware. And I'm saying that if you have the institution and bring it back, you have the social service, family services, it is centralized. You may have little, not minor decentralization, where people would go probably to make an application and whatnot. But I'm saying that you need to bring it to the people. And you had that taking place as late as in the 70s and the 80s. People go to the health center, and when they go to the health center, they should be able to access social workers within the community itself, within the health center. So if people go there and they show signs of, probably having problems and whatnot, they can deal with it. It is not like that. You have to go to Port of Spain, you have to line up, you have to make appointment and all kind of, So I'm saying that we need our social services need to evolve to meet the demands of present day or present time. And that is one of the problems I see with respect to the parenting and all that kind of thing. The law with respect to parental responsibility, and again, in England and those places, you have what you call parental orders that are meted out from time to time. And I know in Trinidad that you have making children, parents responsible for their children and that kind of thing. But we need to look at what exists, look at best practice again, probably in England and the like, to see how best we can probably introduce those strategies within our jurisdiction. We don't have to take it wholesale, we have to modify it, but I think we're way behind, and we need to review how we do business in Trinidad and Tobago. With respect to I don't want to call back again. I don't know if you give me the opportunity to talk about the court system and that kind of thing.
Yeah, yes, Calder. Save that because we will diverge into that and stick on that for the
Yes, all right. Okay? Well, this is it basically what I want to say with respect. You need to reform. It needs to be evolved. You have to, because in other jurisdiction they keep changing. They keep changing the system to meet the current demand, and we remain kind of a bit static, a kind of ad hoc kind of thing. No real structure and that kind of thing. So the people, again, whether you're meeting the needs of those people, the weaker ones in the society, is questionable. Thank you.
So let me read something and then we'll get into discussion. And I place this in context because I asked the question, umpire Janos, I don't know if you heard, have we been ignoring signs? The father of teenage boy accused of killing 4 people in the shooting rampage in a high school in the U.S. state of Georgia has been found guilty of murder, child cruelty, and other charges. Colin Gray, 55, pleaded not guilty to all 29 charges against him, stemming from 2024 attack that left 2 teachers and 2 students dead. His prosecution marks the 3rd time that a U.S. parent has been held criminally responsible for a mass shooting carried out by their child, according to the BBC. Prosecutors argued that Gray was the one person who could have prevented the shooting by his 14-year-old son because he knew he was a bomb just waiting to go off. We argue that we doesn't know. They argue that you could know. The attack at Appalachian High School outside the city of Atlanta claimed the lives of Christiana Iwer. His son, Colt Gray, is currently awaiting trial for the shooting. During the trial, the jury heard how Colin Gray had bought his son an AR-style rifle for Christmas the year before the attack, even though the boy had been questioned by police just 7 months earlier about online threats to commit a shooting in school. Prosecutors argued that he ignored numerous warning signs, including a notebook detailing how his son planned to kill students and the teacher. After seeing sign after sign of his son's deteriorating mental state, his violence, his school shooter obsession, the defendant had sufficient warning that his son was a bomb just waiting to go off. And instead of disarming him, he gave him the detonator. Do we ignore signs?
So, if we read this passage here, and we hold it up against some precepts and some doctrines of criminal law, that's a solid argument at common law. I see in prima facie reckless manslaughter in that article. And I mean, I'm not an attorney yet, but I feel like some people who know the common law and know criminal law, they will hear it and see it. There's absolutely a responsibility, especially with parents here who are duty of care. Parent owes a duty of care to the child. Parent, and I think this is where the extension is. Does a parent owe a duty of care to society? Arguments for another day. When we're talking about our space, in order to open the police, because the police will bend or break the law to end a troublesome person, a pest. They break the law to deal with a pest. But when it is a woman comes and says, this man beaten me, well, that is a personal matter. And the reason I bring that up is because in 2 jurisdictions, Barbados and in Norway, I went to Norway to spend some time on business. And they were explaining to me one of the ways that they keep Norway seems very civil on the surface of it. But Oslo PD don't play. The minute they pick up, use one of them fellas come out to get trouble, they will carry you up on the mountain and talk to you about the error of your ways and take your shoes. By the time you walk down the hill in 0 degree weather, you're rethinking your life choices. I was told in Barbados, the Bajans take a very dim view of men who engage in domestic violence. Law or no law, if they hear you beating your woman, they will come in plain clothes and give you a dose. So, societies and police forces do engage in call it crime prevention to make sure that some of these worst case scenarios do not manifest. The fact of the matter is a person is innocent until proven guilty. The fact of the matter is because the person is behaving in a particular manner, or because the man might be looking a particular way. Sometimes in our community we just know we're head shaking, you know. I know I knew them in Point Fortin. I don't know if you knew them where you from. I don't know where you knew them from. You know the people who are shaking, but they break the law. So now the question becomes, how do you preemptively act against somebody who may be showing signs that they're heading towards a funny place, but you don't have a basis in law to do so?
I think we had to go back to, we're not an organized society.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily have to be a controlled society or like Russia or China or whatever, because they deal with these things very good, even America to some extent. But we are not an organized society. We never saw these things as very important. And I just want to go back to two callers. I have the very prolific caller that spoke about family and what we could do and that kind of thing. And he said that one of the reasons why the state has adopted the approach they adopted social services, and they put all these checks and balances in the system, is because a lot of people were fraudulent and using the state funds in ways that they shouldn't be using it. And I want to say that that shouldn't, even if that is happening, that should not in any way stymie or slow down the pace at which you deliver social services. We must be able, as a society and as a state, we must be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. And you saw this happening for COVID, when they were giving all these grants and then they stop it because the minister, this lady who was the MP for Mova, she would have indicated that a lot of persons were using the systems in ways that was fraudulent and submitting fraudulent application. Hence, they would have stopped the program, and a lot of people were disenfranchised. That to me is atrocious. That to me, that is failed state thinking, in my opinion. But we have to start, one, to adopt systems and procedures and get the right kind of infrastructure to be able to we are too small as a country, too small to be having these kind of problems, to be operating in the dark without data, without analytics, because the analytics is with us all the time. Every time something happens, you can simulate that data and get certain analytics from it. So, but all of that is with us. So why are we still having these problems? Why? The state has a role, and these ministries or whatever, they need to get the right kind of technocrats to be able to deal with it.
And to my dear minister, what good will it do to put more police on the streets?
Correct.
Heighten detection, more people in the court, and more cases fail.
Mm-hmm.
That too is a big contributor of crime. Mm-hmm. Imagine you are Sean Luke's brother. You are Akil Chambers' cousin.
But you see what happened, little boy?
And it's about 15, 20 years now, and they're playing rigmaroles with your cousin.
What would you become?
You become a hardened person, You want to see justice at any means.
Yeah, next time that happens, you don't want to hear from nobody. You don't police on nobody.
You don't want to. So when you talk about families, that's why I look at the van, and the van says justice delayed is justice denied. That is sound.
Sound doctrine.
Sound. Because you're growing up in a society where even if you're long time, we would have forget it. But today it's on your phone. You saw the guy who killed Daddy. Good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon, caller.
Mr. Cox and
Good afternoon. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, my good.
We have your internet a little dodgy, but go ahead.
All right, cool.
Yes.
Well, first time I'll touch with you guys. I want to pay all respects that is applicable to you guys with the intelligence and the work that you guys doing. I just want to say this for the future. The conversations you guys are having, really discussing the truths of situations is so important. It's so important. The development of society. I just want to say, keep up the great work. Honestly, I know touch base. It's too lengthy, but
You wasn't here
keep
for a
up
while,
the-
but we've been here from here for almost a year.
yeah. Nah, not so long, Mr. Matt. But
You
I was
certainly wasn't a part of the world that
We ain't seen you. We ain't seen Samoa. We want to know what's going on.
you know. He certainly
But
wasn't a part of the world.
I
He
could
was
ask
in
a
Germany or
question.
something else because I know that he was
No,
in Germany.
just Trinidad, Mr. Matt is not but you also have a live stream on YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah, the live stream
I was searching for there.
Yes. Well, it maybe wasn't up at the time, but look at it now. You can check it now.
Street 919.
Okay.
Third Empires.
So it's Third Empire on YouTube. So if I go on YouTube and Third Empire, I will see you, right?
Yes.
Yeah. No,
Okay, and going forward in the future.
If you go on YouTube and you see Third Empire, you might see some cricket. You had to go on YouTube and
the Street 91.9.
91.9 Third Empire program.
Yeah, it's funny. I know I like to hear this. With that said, I will look forward in the future. Keep up the honest conversations and it's all this on the see. That's what we need as a society. Because that will help us develop as a society. The honest guys are doing. So thank you so much and keep up the good too.
Our problems in the legal and our criminal justice system are directly associated with the crime in society.
Is Texas safer than Trinidad?
I would say that.
Is it?
Is it?
Of course. In my view. I haven't even looked at the stats.
Is London safer than Trinidad?
I would say so. I would hazard a guess. I'm guessing.
I would say absolutely not.
Why are you saying that?
Because
Are we looking per capita?
we're not looking per capita. What I am saying is, me as a random person driven through Texas has shown that quite a few times a year I have a good chance of getting caught up in the middle of a mass shooting. Just say. Somebody may come out here with an AR-15 and problems, and the bullets all go to whoever may be concerned. And in London, one of my favorite cities in the world, somebody could just walk up to me and stab me up for no particular reason.
But I could have mentioned that too.
But it doesn't.
What?
So what? It doesn't. There is no street knife crime in Trinidad the way that it is in London. And there are no mass shootings.
You can't compare the two.
No.
Right, so
it's not a matter of comparison.
You're dealing with apples and oranges. Let me tell you why. Mass shooting,
yes,
and the way you talking about it,
yeah,
is not a crime except in the case where when I was just reading about the gentleman and his son. Most of the time, those are people with all kind of psychosocial issues, and it just happen, right?
Yeah, well,
but the crime that we talking about here that happens in Trinidad and Tobago,
yes,
a crime that are related to different issues like drugs and gang and all that kind of thing. That's a different thing. So when you're talking about safety, and you use London as an example, you can walk in London for more than 150 probably feet and not be on some grill where they could pick you up and know where you come and where you are.
One nation under surveillance. However, if Mr. Rollox
and if you look at
yeah,
the chances of, even in the US,
fantastic
the chances of solving a murder, getting the person who killed or that kind of thing is almost 100%.
Google knife crime UK.
before I even go there,
Yeah.
this is why I hazard a guess. And we could get on into the science, right?
Yes.
But I looking at the statistics.
Yes.
You know the population of Trinidad?
Of course.
You know the population of Texas?
Yes.
Texas is 32 million people.
32 times Trinidad.
Not the point.
Texas, Trinidad can fit into Texas 132 times.
I can roll with that.
So,
Yes.
I would take Texas. that's just my choice.
And,
listen, in a gun carrying state,
Gun carrying.
right?
Actually, for my shooting a year, nothing major.
Not only that, you have to think about how many of these shooters get away.
Correct.
Almost none. You know why? Because Stephen have one, you have one,
Yes.
and everybody's like Duck Hunt. You remember Duck Hunt the cartoon?
And most of the time, them fellas not even going through that. By the time they don't empty the clip, they will off themselves.
Yeah.
Right. So you can't compare apples with oranges.
I was there just a week ago.
And I wonder if it is that we're missing the point.
Okay, go ahead.
What's the point?
The point we are making is, and the point I am making, I'm defending
Right.
society. I am saying in this society that is quite deficient in several regards.
Quite what?
Deficient.
Right, yeah.
In several regards.
Yeah.
Including our ability to deal with violent crime, including our ability to deal with gangs.
Right.
Including our ability to deal with mental health issues. We have a mental health crisis in our country. But let us not miss. You're not going to walk down Frederick Street and a man just on kicks go in and run up on you and stab you.
Oh, you know that?
It has
Why
not.
that can't happen?
It has not.
Things like that, similar things like that happen.
It has not happened, sir. We do not have a night. This is the point I'm making, sir.
So we haven't gone. We not a
We
gun
have
society, but we have a gun crime society.
We have our particular illnesses and maladies.
You know a man get killed by Impalori in his Savannah, right?
Of course.
All right.
Yeah, they go for him.
All right.
We have a they go for him problem. And the go for him problem is the same reason on the surface of it, Ian Allen solves more crimes than the police. Because our society, or certain segments of our society, have lost trust in the institution of the police service. So now when you see somebody saying, listen, me and a man are smoking, better I go and deal with this man for myself. It is because people do not trust the criminal justice system and the legal system on the whole to dispense justice in a timely manner.
Well, I agree with you, but I have a different thesis. To me, Mr. Allen proves that efficient information gathering and pursuit, relentless pursuit, will bring results. He doesn't sleep now. When you change in shift, he doesn't sleep. He go with the camera and the cameraman, and it's day in, day out, day in, day out. The information is there. It's the same community. It's the same community the police just drive through.
But they will talk to Ian Allen, but they wouldn't talk to the police.
So, and he is not law enforcement
He's not.
in a trained view.
Yeah.
Right? However, his work and his assistance and his is unparalleled. We can't question that.
Yeah.
And he brings it to light. But I'm getting back to the question that I posed initially. Do we ignore signs?
Yes.
Are we as a people ignoring the signs? Are the statistics telling us something?
The institutions ignore the signs.
Yeah.
The communities ignore the signs.
Yeah.
The individuals ignore the signs. And you know what? When it's escalating,
Yeah.
the man beating me, our help. Nah, that's a private matter. The man threatened my child.
Police will still do that?
Yes. That is a private matter. What you want us to do, we cannot do nothing. Yeah? You know, you as a neighbor, you're hearing blows passing. That's my business here, but wait, boy. How you moving so? So we have a very apathetic approach to these emerging crises in our communities.
Think about it.
Yeah.
That's because you hearing a man beating a woman in where you living, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you gonna do? You gonna try to part that fight?
No.
What you gonna do?
No.
What you gonna do?
Mind your business.
No, ask you. What you gonna do?
Me, Gerald?
Yeah.
Mind my business.
Right. So why am I gonna mind your business?
When we finish answer that call, I will tell you why.
Good afternoon, caller.
Hi, good afternoon, guys. I just calling in to agree with the gentleman in the background. It views on situation to happen, and they have left it. The first and most important um approach is a proactive action. We need the TTPS to provide proactive steps so that situations do not occur. And they always ask us, if you see something, say something. If you see something, tell us the information, give us the information. But I just asking a question, I didn't making no claims. Are they doing their full proactive approach and assessment? Because they have all the ports in communities, and the landscape of the country doesn't change. So they have been well established within communities, so they have all the information. It's nothing for us to say or communicate to them that they should not know. If anything, and you always hear people saying, just to add to the gentleman's feedback, some people might try to communicate once, and they might get like a negative feedback. So persons might say, well, you know what? It's best I don't call the police and say something. It's best I don't, because either my claim is not heard, or they don't care, or I feel as though some officers might report it back, or this call might be tapped. That's a great point. This call might be tapped. So I don't want to be harassed for days and weeks and months going forward by persons in my community or other communities where I work and where I traverse those areas. So great points of reason, but essentially, long story short, the Ministry of National Security need to step up a little bit more and just be honest and do the work. You know, you're on the station right now doing work. I have to go to work tomorrow. I going to work tomorrow. I going to do my job. Some people feel that they could not go to work and live like kings and queens. That is a total error. And we need to target and eliminate those persons, that mindset. We need to eliminate that mindset. Some people cannot live like, yeah, it's a mindset, Mr. Matheson, is a mindset. Some people feel they could just rock back.
I said mindset because I say eliminate, and then I say eliminate the mindset, right? So the eliminate the mindset, not eliminate the person.
I speaking freely. So you're correct, Mr. Matheson. Your interjection was correct, Mr. Matheson. We need to eliminate that mindset. You just can't rock back in your home and feel you could just live like a king and don't do nothing. That could never work, because if all of us just rock back home and do nothing, where would the country go? Thank you for the time. I don't want to take too long. Keep up the great work, guys. I'm listening to all you.
Alright. So you ask me what I will do.
Yeah.
Real story. Lady X tells me the man beaten her. The same time now, my brethren, real good brethren, Lady Y also says at the same time, the man beaten her. My brethren who own the places laugh at me to this day. I say, partners, we're trying to rescue two ladies. I talking about place to stay, resources, employment, everything to move from the situation where you say you're being abused. In no less than 3 weeks, these two individuals who don't know each other were back in their respective situations. And to my knowledge, they're still in their respective situations 13 years later. Now, on the other side of that coin, because I don't want to make a villain out of women who cannot leave it. It's a serious situation. Leaving is just straightforward. From an emotional, from a financial, from a security, from a mental health perspective, I'm not here to tell you that moving away from an abusive relationship is an easy endeavor by any means. But you, as a third party, may find yourself, because you know what? I hear sometime later, the man was looking for the man. God bless the girl, girl probably never called my name. Looking for the man who take the woman and put him somewhere. Weeks he can't see the woman. So I put in my life and my situation in jeopardy, trying to support somebody who in this particular instance, or those particular instances, don't. And you know the tongue they say it, don't get in between married people business. Right? You hear it before, it's the first time you hear it from me.
But I am agreeing with his statement. What I heard before,
I don't I agree with it.
That making a lot of sense.
I just want to know if you hear it before
Yes,
me,
yes,
or if,
yes, I've
or
heard it
if
before.
I was the originator of this
No, sir.
patriarchy.
There are people in the cemetery can testify to this statement. Because they got involved.
They got involved. And you know what? Maybe it should be a safer space for a community to buy over unacceptable behavior. But it's not. Because you know the principal man let's stand alone. You know?
Yeah, well, but the thing is, I mean, if there was some kind of
what police?
Some kind of space, some kind of, I don't know if it's anonymously or whatever, that you could probably report these kind of things. You hear a man beating a woman like you want to kill she. I don't know.
Create a assault squad.
A assault squad, so.
Yeah.
But you don't know what she get next for?
Don't matter. It don't matter.
My God.
So like two extremes. You're talking about a assault squad.
I would disagree.
A assault squad and a squad who and a space where you could at least, anonymously call the police or something, because sometimes people get licks and they stay quiet, But the suffering in silence, the dying in silence, and one day, you see when a man start to beat you, right? Even if you get licks for the first time, he does graduate,
Of course.
If he do nothing,
The first lash is not the last.
right? And even if he says sorry and sorry that would not happen again, the next time you do something, he will hit you again and he will hit you harder the next time. You might get beat up. So the thing is, we had to just have a society where we could eradicate, where we could just see that as just being wrong.
There are some men who just protect and serve. Caller, we will take you right after the break, okay? Because we're going to a break, so we wouldn't take any calls. I see you calling, but we'll take you right after the break. There are men who just protect and serve. Does real protect and real serve, eh?
Serve or service.
If they serve, if you call them fellas, they could protect 24 hours too, eh? They are the time, eh?
They make the time.
They will make the time.
Dedicated.
Yes. If you're talking a little Spanish, your protection show too. So, the dynamics of these relationships, especially when it comes to harm to children, they're quite intricate, and they're quite, in my view, convoluted, because we were.
A minute
Yeah,
and-
we
a minute and 33 seconds.
33 seconds.
Pretty privilege is real, eh?
Yeah.
And sexy privilege is real.
Yeah.
How nice you had to be to get that kind of service. If you're not of those dimensions, or that complexion, or that finish, who's standing up for you? If you're plain Jane. All issues that it has to have some level of equity in terms of whether it is protection from society or protection from institutions.
Yeah.
That protection must be afforded to all women.
Yeah. But unfortunately, in reality, the reality of the situation says it doesn't work that way. We started with animal farm.
Some animals more equal than others.
Some being more equal than others. And unfortunately, this is what happens in the domestic scenario. We did talk a bit about the father and the alleged reasons for the father's absence, because he's alive.
Yeah.
He's alive, the father of the child. And I feel for him now, because he should and would be very confused about what happens next. Very, very confused. Join us after the break on the Third Empire.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
What are you doing? Big D, big fun, KFC, so we big on the ground. The big nation, cause they don't know we were the crown. Say what you want, KFC, so we lead in front. We are big nation, TNT and KFC, one motion.
Come to KFC, let we all have fun, and let we join together because KFC is life. It's a big deal.
Say what you want, KFC, so we lead in front. We are big nation, TNT and KFC, one motion.
Midweek, we got you. Sandwich Wednesdays, 2 KFC sandwiches for just $50. Double the crunch, double the flavor, double the value. Why settle? It must be KFC. Order now. Follow KFC Trinidad and Tobago WhatsApp channel for all the deals.
Strictly local radio show, blazing the best positive hits out of TT. Hottest radio show.
Welcome. You are now locked in.
Every Saturday, 6 to 8 p.m., blazing the very best in Trinbago music and more, sending the heartbeat of the Twin Islands straight to the world.
This service is a massive communication product that aims to provide a new media platform for local TT entrepreneurs.
You're now locked into one of the hottest radio shows. Send us your voice notes or call in live and rep your district. Whether you're in East, West, North, South, or Sweet Tobago, this is your show, your sound, your culture. Hottest radio show. Strictly local, hosted by the one and only DJ Flex 868. Don't miss it. Every Saturday, 6 to 8 p.m. Only on the streets 91.9 FM. The vibes, the culture, the sound of Trinbago.
We blaze all the best in TT. Hashtag rep your district. Water is life. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Any little leak, we gon' fix it. We gon' fix it. We gon' fix it. So anyway you see a leak, the number to call is 800-4420 or 800-4426 and report the leaks. Iwer, George and Wasson say, join the evolution to save water. Water is precious. Every drop of water counts. This message is brought to you by the Water and Sewerage Authority.
Is a whole lot of flavor wrapped up in a twist. Some of them try to rap, but they don't rap like this. With crispy KFC tenders and lettuce and carrots and shredded tortilla embedded, perfect wherever you headed. Dripping with that creamy mayo and that mambo sauce. Let me tell them one more time to get my point across. It's a craveable, crunchable, movable, functional, flavorful meal that your taste buds must endorse. KFC crunch twist. None of them, they don't make them like this.
Introducing KFC's Crunch Twist, a flavorful wrap with a delicious difference for just $29.95. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iwer George on Instagram. Share the live. Iwer TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Skylar Gabriel, a 6-year-old who nearly drowned in a public pool during a family outing last month has been discharged. The child, who remains in critical condition, is being cared for by parents at their home in San Fernando. On April the 10th, Skylar was admitted in the intensive care unit at the San Fernando General Hospital after she was submerged in the water for several minutes. She was found unresponsive while bathing in a pool at a fun park in Gasparillo. At the time, the girl had been visiting the recreational facility with her parents. CCTV footage of the incident viewed by the Express showed Skylar bathing unattended in a children's pool at the site without a flotation device or life vest. She later leaves the pool and walks towards the stairs of the slide of the adult pool, sliding in, never emerging from the water. Within a minute, her parents, I would leave out the names, are seen searching for her. She was removed from the pool by persons at the facility and EHS services were contacted. I was moving off this issue and I saw this. You, this is Trinidad. This is the place you love.
Love it.
Good. What happening here?
What happening there is 2026 feral children. It is a pattern of parenting that is historic in our society. And I will give you the example again coming back to me. I grew up in Point Fortin around the Mahika Clifton area.
Oh, you are a country boy, come down the road.
Correct.
Oh.
So you know what? We had...
Welcome to Buttersby.
Thank you, sir. We had the Clifton Hill pool. And the baby pool was like tall by like Stephen Matterson knee here, which is maybe not 2 feet. And the shallow side of the pool was 6 feet. And the deep side of the pool was actually 24 feet. And that was a diving pool. Proper thing from Shell back in the day. And I don't remember it having lifeguard and that kind of thing, you know. And we went to a very fancy primary school, a fancy primary, St. Catherine's. I mean, good afternoon to the...
The word is bougie.
Quite bourgeois.
You were bougie.
Bourgeois.
Yeah, you went to bougie school.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah, I don't remember no lifeguards. And I remember many times, as a 7-year-old or 8-year-old, you get fed up at that baby pool, and you throw a frame. Anything? I don't think my mother ever come in that pool once. And no teachers ever used to watch us. They didn't have nobody, no lifeguard. There is a cultural issue with non-parenting. Things that is jail in other countries is normal. Unfortunately for poor Skylar had that level of wherewithal to figure out how not to drown. And many times, if you go in these spaces, go by Harry's, go on the beach. Of course, you have very responsible parents who hold the baby in their hand. You don't let them out of the sight. But you will find children on the loose in public spaces, especially close to water. Anybody who feel like go Maracas Beach this weekend and just sit down and watch. So, Skylar was the victim in this particular case. But the pattern of parenting and the pattern of behavior, I don't know that it's so good.
Well, I want to just say this, right? So, I am the owner of a swimming pool.
Mm-hmm.
Recent owner of a swimming pool. And I think, without anybody telling me, people with swimming pool must know how dangerous swimming pools are. Not only for children, but for adults also. And therefore, if you're investing in a swimming pool and you're having people, whether the public or you're having people visiting or patronizing it, you should. Signage is important. Critical. You as a former USH person, you will know that.
Former. Always, sir.
Right. But more than that, safety. So no child should be allowed near a swimming pool without an adult supervision.
Quite correct.
Adult with that child, because you don't want to be held responsible for something like that, right? Children could drown in 3 feet of water. That's for 4 and 5. So this is a real serious thing. Now that is not to say that a child can get away from me and run and jump in the swimming pool and some within a twinkling of an eye, you know. But you have to be very, very vigilant around swimming pool with children. Once that children in your space and it's about pool, they will try to go in it.
Let me read the paragraph again for you. Because the issues are, well, the words I want to use are not radio friendly.
Why?
CCTV of the incident viewed on the Express showed Skylar bathing unattended in a children's pool at the site without a flotation device or life vest. She later leaves the pool and walks towards the stairs of the slide in the adult pool.
Big people pool.
Sliding in, never emerging from the water.
Critical condition, potentially permanently disabled. Thank God she alive. So the question I have for you, Umpire Rolex, is 2 questions. Should they be charged and will they be charged?
Everybody there should. I don't know what the states, and I don't know what is the state's role. Because you see, when you set certain examples and you put them on the 7 o'clock news, these things don't happen. That's why in other societies, children tend to call the police when they get licks. You know why? Because people understand the consequences. This child, the footage says she was unattended. Went from one pool to the next. But the other question is, does the facility also not have a duty of care?
They absolutely do, sir.
You can't have, I don't know, even if it's a private facility, I don't know that you get to say there's a private facility. We just rent them it and we go on, you know. Because if death happens on your compound, now what the times you talk about in when you say Point 14 was before Osh was born, right? Osh wasn't born then.
No, we had the Moshak 1974.
Nah.
We had a little something.
That a little something. But this, for me, is negligence. This shows how you heard the issues ensuing in the jet ski.
Yes.
You realize the story started to make a snake.
Yes.
In terms of, because after the incident, the liability issue was on the guy who drove into the person. But when you dig deeper about the licensing, the systems, the operating systems at the facility, those are not the users or the jet ski man responsibility, you know. That's the operator. And this facility had no one, no, the CCTV footage, because if you leave rules and people don't obey the rules, we know what happens as our consequences. But you can't just say, you can't just leave it up to them. You can't, not when water is involved. And if it's your private facility, like if Mr. Matheson was talking about, if the facility he talks about is his home, he has a responsibility to be there. He can't walk away, you know, and say, well, boy, I went and take a sleep. I didn't know you can't swim. The child went from one pool to the next without a float. She was bathing unattended.
The thing is, that child shouldn't be even allowed on your compound without an adult.
Well, the child was on the compound with an adult.
Without your parents.
Yes.
And
well, she was with
and
them.
Therefore, if you have that kind of stipulation on your compound, then the responsibility shifts to the parent. This is my opinion, right? So if you say you operate in a pool, you can't be there 24 hours the pool, but you have rules that has to be followed, and those rules are: a child is not to be on your compound without the supervision of an adult.
So let me ask you something, Senior Matheson. If you and I sitting down here, and the child bathing by that chair out in the corridor there, that child being supervised?
Yeah.
The child is attended?
Well, the parent?
I watching, let me call this.
I watching the child, yeah, I supervise if something happen. I'm
so
not far away from the child.
10 feet is attended? 12 feet is attended?
So
15 feet is
what
attended?
you're supposed to do? You're supposed to go and hold the child hand inside the pool?
But my issue is this. Well, I grew
You
up.
realize I just went in defense lawyer.
I grew up in the school that you just go in the water with them and come out with them. Nobody didn't send me no water. You go in the water when I go in. That's what I heard from my parents.
But Mr. Rollocks,
Good.
if we applying, I don't want to all some all legalese here.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about what does the reasonable man think? One reasonable man, and we know Mr. Matheson to be a very reasonable man, is saying, within my eyesight is attended. And you saying, in the water with the person, and when you're coming out, you're coming out with them.
But is it sufficient? And I disagree with him on this point. I do not think it's sufficient just to lease a place like this and not have somebody to enforce your rules. Because what good are your rules? You have a whole signpost of rules.
Wait. You just say what good are rules without enforcement, man?
What good are your rules?
You just say that?
Oh, but of course, what good are your rules?
Just checking.
What good are you have a whole billboard of rules?
Yeah.
But we know real party and weed does go wrong day.
Yeah.
Because really and truly, after you pay your deposit, they just say thank you and they gone. And somebody gets injured. Is it that, well, they break the rules, somebody get injured and that's the end of the harbor?
Well,
I think thought has a much further reach.
It does if people will litigate, but people don't.
So the people here with the facility, good? It's just like a theme park. You have a theme park with slides and everything. It have plenty things in writing. You cannot leave that to the children and the parents, you know.
No.
Because you know what has happened? The parents just sit down eating candy and ball are watching him right there and turn around to answer the phone. You remember with the guy who rescued the child?
Yeah, just the other day.
Who slipped through
Yeah.
everybody?
And going up the road.
The child slipped through everybody. So this issue about parents and their supervision of children and not just presenteeism, we talk about supervision because you have to be within a reasonable distance.
Look, some sectors of our society have no idea what that means.
You know why?
Parenting is a skill.
You know why?
A lot of parents never learn.
You know why? There are no consequences.
Correct.
And the consequences is what will set precedent. The consequences. The consequences will set precedent.
What we saying, the police? That where the consequences are to come from?
Well, the police will act on instruction.
The DPP then?
Well, yeah. Charges must be, because this, even though this child has not died, thank God, this is a serious issue here. This is an issue here that should be a test case for other parents. That should be somewhere when people read it, because there should be consequences here. It can't be the child is without any flotation device. I'm sure that is in the rules. I'm sure the company maybe you have to have your full, but who making sure that I don't pay my deposit? The owner don't really be here, you know.
And she got swim.
Yeah, the owner, you just transfer the money in the bank, and the lady does get the key next door, and you do your want. You kill people, murder people, bury people. It don't matter because you don't pay your money and whatever. It doesn't work like that. The state has a point, and it's the same thing with the jet ski. Because after all your policies who really showing that on you? Who on the beach? Who on the beach? I remember we had lifeguards at one time, and the lifeguards are there not only to swim and rescue you when you're drunk, you know. The lifeguards and make sure you see that red flag. You know that there's blow the whistle. There's make sure that the beach, the safety issues are dealt with. That is why when they are absent, it's such an issue. But I was just moving off this issue when I found this story again, and again, it has to do with children and adults. And I think we're expecting the children to be adults, and we are treating the adults like children. We were expecting the children to be adults, and we asking we lower the bar for the adults. And this can't be good.
So Rolex, you're supposed to be an umpire, not a batsman.
Well, I'm not batting.
You're batting, sir.
Who are batting for?
For the swinging for the boundaries.
So we were talking about the judicial system and the complaint by someone about the behavior of the judge or two judges, and the GLCs saying that their hands are tied, which we know is not true given the judgment in the Marcia Air Caesar case. And we was talking to Senior Matheson, and I was telling him this is not a problem that the lay people fix. We had an election, and everybody that won had a post and different responsibilities. I have a responsibility to go to my job and do what I get paid for and come home. This is an issue with the judiciary and the legal system. And somehow the GLC is saying that they don't have a remit in disciplining judges. So I would have read that, I would have read from that statement they're inferring that judges are above the law.
Yes, quite so.
Why do you say that?
Okay,
Well, the Marcia Caesar case says they are not. The GLC does have the remitter. That was the judgment.
Okay.
The Privy Council said, yes, you can.
So let us understand that on the face of it,
Yeah.
on the surface, a judge is supposed to be above political influence.
Right.
They are supposed to be above other forms of pressure. So to make sure that our judiciary is independent, a number of ways that we do that. We pay them well. We make sure not any and anybody could arbitrarily mess with them. We don't go around saying things that disparage a judge's judgment. You know? There are things that we do to make sure that we uphold the sanctity of the court and the sanctity of its officers. Now, if a judge has broken the law, that is a particular issue. However, for us to say, well, boy, a judge wrong, that is not something that is done or not done like
to conclude that he breaks the law, he has to be investigated. He has to be subject to. Well, this is the issue here.
Yeah. Right. So, all we say is good, but a judge cannot be above the law. Right?
Judge is the law, sir.
I don't know.
I am the law.
No, listen.
Yes.
No,
it's in jest, but it's also serious at the same time.
Don't oversimplify what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Right? A judge cannot be above the law. Right? A judge interprets the law. Right? And makes judgments. But he's not above the law. He is held to the same standard that the law, he should be held to the same standard that the law
and he is
provides. Right? And we have had judicial officers in Trinidad and Tobago that was charged and locked up and imprisoned already in Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know if you know about Chagasa and you know about even the present speaker of the house.
But that
is a judicial officer.
Is that an thing?
No, right. Yes. Right, but they are not held, they are not above the law. Right? So, and that's what we're talking about here. Now, if they are not above the law, then and the JLSC is who makes
Appointments.
Yes.
Then somebody must be responsible. It stands to reason.
It stands to reason.
Right?
Correct.
Stands to reason that somebody or some entity must be responsible. Right? They can't be responsible. No, if you would agree with me that they are not above the law. You would agree with that?
No. And let me say what I mean.
Explain.
Let me say what I mean, because I understand it clearly. A judge cannot be subject to, I would say, arbitrary discipline.
But we know that.
Because this is what it's either we say.
What do you mean arbitrary discipline? Explain.
Okay, and let me explain it.
We know here and here.
Yeah, let me explain it. If the judge go and hold up the quick shop, lock the judge up today.
Well, that's what we're talking about.
Hear me out. If the judge goes and the judge on the surfaces of it has committed a crime, actus reus, mens rea, concurrency works, charge the person, hold the person, etc. But there are other issues, and this is the issue here that we say about the president. It's issues that we say about judges.
You know what I don't like about you?
What you don't like about them?
You just take a conversation and carry it in places maybe.
I hear it before.
You're trying to make the thing complicated. We give you a simple thing.
Okay, simple thing. Lock up the judge.
No, we didn't say lock up the judge. We asking the question is. Are the judges who are they responsible to?
What I am saying is that our tradition does not allow, except that a judge has committed a crime, our system doesn't allow for judges to be subject to that kind of discipline.
What kind of discipline?
Any kind of discipline except you are being charged with a crime.
That's what we're talking about.
Is that what this was about?
If we are saying that a judge would have done something that is contrary to something.
What is something?
Anything.
Not anything. Be specific.
So you're saying
give me an example.
You're saying there are things judges could do that is contrary to anything that is contrary to law or proper discipline or order. Are you saying that judge? You know judges have been charged for. My good friend have been charged for drunk driving already.
Well, then we broke the law, you should be charged.
But this is what we're talking about. We're saying that if you do something
that
is contrary...
You give me a good example.
If you do something that's contrary to the law, or good practice, moral practice, you should be able to be held to some standard. That's what we're saying. And who does that?
Mr. Rolla?
Who does that?
Could you please Google, since we're using Google liberally and AI liberally today, could we Google ensuring the independence of judges? How do we ensure the independence of judges, and see what they say?
The Judicial and Legal Services Commission is an independent body, Section 104 and 111,
of the Constitution,
to promote, transfer, exercise disciplinary control over judges and public officers. Look, their remit there: appointments, legal officer staffing, Director of Public Prosecution.
Discipline and removal.
Discipline and removal. It holds the power to exercise disciplinary control and terminate the appointments of public officers. In the case of judges, it is empowered to initiate proceedings and advise on removal based on inability. A judge might become sick or misbehavior.
Agree.
Its authority is balanced against constitutional limits designed to ensure independence from the executive, meaning the commission must conform to the natural justice rules and its decisions are subject to judicial review. Now, I guess the conundrum is judicial review is still by judges, but the point being made here is that they are subject to due process like everybody else. And if a complaint is lodged or made against a sitting judge,
what kind of complaint?
Well, they will have to hear it.
Correct.
It can't be he steal my cat. Good? However,
we'll lock them up for a cat.
However,
stealing stuff, sir.
However, remember, this mirrors what we know of the commissions that are straight through society. The Teaching Service Commission is the same thing. Promote, transfer, discipline, and hire. So all the commissions.
You're feeling comfortable to answer our question, sir? If you don't want me to put you on the spot, I wouldn't put you on the spot.
No,
you hard questions. We like hard questions.
Yeah, this is the third umpire. You know.
Should
bowl your ball.
Should Justice Carmona have been disciplined or dismissed for his judgment on Brad Boys? Was it Carmona or was it Volney? It was Volney. Should Herbert Volney have been dismissed or disciplined for his judgment on Brad Boys?
I can't remember the details of that.
For real, and I do not know.
And I mean, don't speak on it. But what I am saying is,
was there a complaint to the GLSC?
I wasn't paying attention to those things. Well,
that's the only way it could be done.
But what I am saying to you is the public perception at the time was that this was an issue of class favoritism. You get through because of your name and who your father is. And the judge decided, nah, boy, this man dead, but don't beat up, you go let you go. No, I wasn't there, no. I am not there to tell you that the judge ruling was right or wrong, but public sentiment was that the ruling was unjust. So, the practical elements of this conversation we have in here is never going to be, did the judge go and put on a robbery? The question will be, is the judge discharging their duty fairly, and are their judgments actually in keeping with law? And another judge will never, even when cases are...
Well, you said two things, right? Fairly and in keeping with law, right?
Yes.
Fairly is pretty subjective.
Correct.
Right? So, and a senior dealing with that judge, the GLSC dealing with that judge for something somebody said it wasn't fair. It's pretty subjective, unless you could bring some kind of argument which shows that he breached some law, or it had some favoritism, or somebody pay him on his side, or he's the judge friend, the person friend, or something, right? But in terms of the law, yes, you can be disciplined.
And I telling you no.
What?
I'm telling you no.
But look the GLSC.
That's not what the GLSC is saying. What I am saying is, even when you go to a superior court and judges like, but they don't even say. They say, you know the word they like to use? The ruling may have been in per curiam, in error. Say it nice in Latin. We do.
But anyway,
we
maybe we don't know our wrong road, because if you think in law, it have courts for that. It have court of appeal, it have privy council, it have all that kind of thing. So that's a different thing. But what I'm saying is, I don't think what this matter was about.
I'll get into that just. Let me take this call. Good afternoon, caller.
Afternoon, Mr. Rolex again.
Yes, good afternoon.
Mr. Matterson, I thought you weren't there, when I called the first time, on the first occasion.
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. But the thing, as Mr. Matterson just called, what are the facts in this matter? And how did the judge, Weston James, how did he deal with it? What was his judgment? What did he say? Because he ruled on it. And he ruled in favor of the next person, or that who was also a litigant in person. Because, when you bring a matter for somebody who's under 18, a minor, you have to go as the next friend. And a litigant in person, it means that they're going without a lawyer, they're representing themselves, So, but the thing of what are the facts? And as Mr. Rollox read earlier on, what the powers or the authority or the function of the Judicial and Legal Service Commission. We know that, and the question of discipline, they have the right to discipline. So the thing about it is that the matter went before the court, and what the litigant sought, I think, is going with judicial review. He sought judicial review, and he can do that in the sense that the judicial, he brought the action against the Judicial and Legal Service Commission because they had failed to take action, right, against the judges. And he referenced he cited the matter with Justice Air Caesar, right, as the basis on which the JLC should act, and the judge apparently agreed with him, right? So I don't see the issue there. I mean, that's a first instance judgment. He may go to the appeal court and he may appeal it. The JLC may appeal it, and we don't know where it may end. It may reach to the Privy Council. We don't know. But the fact remains is that there is a ruling in it by Judge Justice Preston James. And why he sought judicial review, in the sense that he looked at the Judicial Review Act, he would have factored that in, the person who is acting on the, well, he was a litigant in person. So it meant that he would have looked at that 2000 Act, and he would have outlined his grounds. Grounds may be unfair, unreasonable, procedural, and unreasonable, right? All these things. Some of these matters, one of these matters may have taken into account. And the quest as a ground, then he would have said, well, look, what is the remedy he might have sought? To get the judicial, he might have sought a mandamus. It may be an injunction, not an injunction, because not an injunction he sought. But apparently he sought to get the court to rule, to get the JLC to act. So a mandamus, right? He could probably an injunction also, because he could have a negative, positive, right? They call on the person to act, and you may have an injunction to call on a person to stop doing something, stop behaving in a particular way. But the matter is determined by Western James, or Westmont James. So what we await now is if there's going to be an appeal, as far as my understanding goes.
Well, there are certain things that are coming out of this case which are important for justice and our justice system, right? So the appeal, the matter stems from the claimant here, right? He complained about the conduct of two judges in a matter. The JLSC remained silent even after pre-auction protocol, stating that the matter is out of their remit.
I agree.
That's what they were saying.
Yeah.
Well, the judge and the Privy Council disagrees.
Right.
The JLC said they already communicated to the guy that this matter was out of their remit. They also said that he waived his right to object to one of the judges. Then they also complained that the application filed on December the 1st, 2025 was outside the 3-month statutory period. So they tried to use the technicalities behind the law.
Yeah, but if in fact, I don't want to interrupt, if in fact it is said, the JLC is saying that it was outside of the 3 months limit, it doesn't mean to say that if you fail to file within or outside of the 3 month period, that you can't. The fact remains that you must give reasonable grounds as to why you were not you did not file on time. So it doesn't mean to say that you're prevented because you're outside, you're out of time. You see, but I take the point you say. But as far as I'm concerned, yes, the court would have taken all those matters into account, dealt with each argument, dealt with the question of out of time, outside of the 3 months limit. He would have argued that and say, well, look, listen, I was out of that 3 months limit because he has a good reason, and the court found that he had a good reason.
Well, Justice James noted that the threshold for granting the leave
arguable case
is low.
Yeah.
He said administrative silence can be reviewable, and that the JLSC had not produced any evidence explaining the absence of a response or clarifying whether the matter remained under active consideration. Allegations involving judicial integrity engage not merely the interests of an individual complainant, but broader constitutional considerations concerning accountability, transparency, and public confidence in the judiciary. Justice James said. He added that unresolved allegations also affect the judges concerned, who are entitled to a timely resolution for vindication. He also rejected the delay argument at this stage, noting that where the alleged unlawfulness is a continuing failure to perform a function, the issue requires fuller examination at a substantive hearing. So, in essence, you can't use time delays to hide behind something that has broader constitutional explanation. You can't. And that is the remit of a judge. A judge can say, listen to me, it may be outside the statutory period, but this matter is too important to brush it aside.
Right. So that is what you see. What the judge has done really is to look at the arguments put forward by the JSC, looked at the argument of the litigant in person, and he would have dealt with each argument. And in his conclusion, after dealing with each argument put forward by the JLSC, he says, well, look, listen, you don't really have any basis on which you can, refuse to act. And you have to act. And that is what he says, because, again, as I said, in meeting with the claim made by the claimant, who is the litigating person, he's saying, well, look, listen, you have to go ahead and hear the matter, deal with that matter, deal with the judges. So basically, that is what it is. And unless there's an appeal, that is the judgment, that is the decision of the court. Because the man made an application for judicial review. He laid his grounds down, he looked for his remedies, and the court agreed with him, his argument. The court was minded not to follow or take into, consider seriously the arguments put forward by the GLSA. So that is where it is. I don't
Caller,
see...
what I find instructive here, and I am learning from this case, is that it not only solidifies the ability of the common man to take action when a commission acts, you are also now able to take action when a commission fails to act after you have complained to them. So you can't accuse them of not acting if you didn't complain. But if you have complained to the Police Service Commission, Teaching Service Commission, Prison Service Commission, and they did not act based on your complaint, they are liable.
Yes, you see,
it must be investigated.
Yeah, you see, this is all within the claim. When you're going to bring an action for judicial review, you bring an action for judicial review against a public authority or public body or public or functionary.
Yes.
And the fact remains is that if they're not, and you have your grounds, and as we said, we talk about acted unfairly, unreasonably, irrationally, and all. Those are the grounds. So you could choose one or two of the grounds on which you go into ultra vires. You could move on that. But then the other thing, a breach of natural justice and all that. Yeah. But then you come down to the fact where you're seeking a remedy. You're asking the court. They have failed to act against, that is the Judicial and Legal Service Commission. Yeah. And I'm asking that they be made to act. Yeah. Discipline that man. Take action against, force this man to hear my plea. Deal with my matter. And the court says, yes, you have the court, the judges, or the Judicial and Legal Service Commission should force these people, force the judges, will take action against those the judges, as a matter of fact, because they are responsible for disciplining all the other things that you spoke about, appointment and all these things. So they oversee, they supervise the judges. And he's saying that you're the only person who could take, that's the only body, because you're responsible for them, to take action. But you fail to take action. And the court said, no, well, you have to take action. That is all that transpired there.
Yeah.
Told the Judicial Legal Service Commission, you have to take action against the judges.
And we were talking about the problems in the judiciary. And this is why this is important. And we were talking with Senior Matheson about the lack of personnel and all the other things that concern the judiciary. And this is the body. It appoints, promotes, transfers
So that is the body.
legal officers in the director of public prosecutions who come out the other day and say he's short staff. So I now know who he was talking to because they are the body that are responsible.
So guys.
Well, you see, when you in a you a DPP, and you you may want to become a judge. You may want to go to the bench.
Yeah.
I don't know if Gaspard would want to go there now at this age, at this time, this stage. But you have to be careful. You saw what happened to El Caesar.
Yeah.
So you don't want to fall into that. So you have to be very careful how you deal with these people there, you know.
So I do not want us again to miss that there are traditions and standards of behavior for how judges are treated with. According to, I didn't want to go back in my public.
You mean conventions?
We're not even talking about we're not even talking about conventions here. Parliamentary conventions are different. What we're saying here. So I literally asked, just for experience, I don't want to go and dig back in our public law textbook. Can a judge be disciplined for a poor judgment?
In trying to be.
Anyway.
What is that?
I'm just sharing something that's on my phone screen with you, sir. I literally asked, can a judge be disciplined for poor judgments?
For poor judgment?
For poor judgments.
What is poor judgment? But I have
Well,
a
this is,
question to ask.
well, if you charge a man.
Wait, allow me to give you the answer that's here.
Yeah.
In short, no. A judge cannot be disciplined or penalized simply for making a poor or unpopular legal decision.
We said that already.
Yeah, but you see, you have to look. You have to look at the whole question. This is a judicial review matter.
Yeah,
and I agree with you, but we're not speaking. I'm not here to overspeak on the judge or the judicial review. You obviously understand the law as well. What I am saying is from a procedural point of view, a member of the GLSC knows that there is a narrow band in which they can initiate disciplinary action for a judge. And I will just share this with you if I experience at this moment. The major ones are corrupt conduct, bias and prejudice on the bench, gross misconduct, and gross incompetence.
But we see all that already, though.
Of course, yeah. So what we're saying is, gross incompetence has to speak to a pattern of behavior over time. And if somebody, literally the next statement it makes, is if somebody feels that they need to hold a judge to account, they should file for judicial review. What I am saying is if I am on the GLSA, somebody have to outright do something or have like a glaring mountain of evidence for me to say I am going after a sitting judge. So you know what? If the GLSC says, listen, I am not seeing the standard here for which I could go after the sitting judge based on these complaints, kind so you may have to seek for judicial review, but be good. I think the GLSC in their remit as a service commission has made the right decision. And if the court has said, listen, because the court is doing two things. It's ruling on the situation. It's also ruling on the procedure. So if a senior court, as senior as the Privy Council, a more senior court, says, we need to look at this again, there's a wider definition by which you could go after a judge if a member of the public is aggrieved or if there's evidence of gross incompetence, then we have to adjust our system. But at the time, if GLSC says, yo, going after a judge in this manner for this particular set of issues is beyond our remit, we good. I am just saying, as an amateur of the law, I'm not a lawyer, I'm a lay person. As an amateur legal mind, the GLSC is quite right to say, we good. If it is you have to go further, you go ahead and go further, we good. I think
Well-
they made the right decision.
Well, I think you are entitled to your opinion on this matter.
Oh, thank you, sir.
And like everybody else, in the final analysis, the court will determine that either the appeal level or probably at the Privy Council.
Correct.
So that is where it rests, and we have our own views about it, and we're entitled to that. But we may be right, we may be wrong. But the final arbiter may likely be the Privy Council.
Yeah.
All right, thanks again.
All right, thanks, caller.
But yeah, we talking one thing, right? You Google something totally different. Totally different. Right? You know, I was the victim of people who uses ad hominems.
Ad hominems.
Yes. And that to me is, I mean, the article just the answer I got is exactly what we were saying here. Is what everybody's saying. Look,
Well, we're not saying no, but I am saying that I agree with what the GLSC says when they said it was out of their remit. I agree, and I continue to agree.
Let's take this call. Good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon, coach. Hey, good afternoon, guys. Just chiming in real quick. Look, I watching the same you. I get through. Clearly believe the meeting on my call. Keep it as today's legally speaking Wednesday's but this gentleman
Call us on your normal phone. Not you're
breaking up badly, sir.
Internet kind of.
You're breaking up bad.
Sorry, I just asking you hear me a little better now?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's see.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I had this on loudspeaker before. So yeah, I'm calling on Beyond the Tape. Today's supposed to be legally speaking Wednesdays. But long story short, I mean, this Corporal Ali, he's saying the same thing he was saying 3 years ago. The exact same thing. So I wanted to call into Beyond the Tape and ask him, what have you developed? What going on? Because he just saying the same things. And I sincerely believe that they not answering my call, because I will ask these honest questions. He not accomplishing anything, nothing at all. It's just how the platform, especially with Whitney husbands, it's just a waste of time. And these are deterrents. These are deterrents to the development of our country. So I'm not calling you all to just express my feelings, you know. We talking about the happiness and comfort of all citizens. There are more lands. I know, Mr. Matheson, you would have said in the past that you maybe know of some areas in Trinidad that can be used as arable land to develop agriculture. But we know there are lands in Trinidad that are not utilized, that can be used. That's number one. The TTPS now got some brand new vehicles to use. I think it's EV, electric vehicles. So what really going on? How long will we talking about the same topic? You know, I will leave it there. I know you all coming to a close just now. But all the best, guys. This is a good platform. We can be honest, and we have talent. We have talent in this community. I mean, you all are a good example. Mr. Relux is a living dictionary. You know, he has it with Mr. Matheson. You have the verbiage, and the third guy with you all today. You know, and Schultz going out to Miss Sandy for wherever she may be. But we need honesty in society. That's what we need, honesty. Thank you.
Okay.
Are you tired of scratching the surface?
Yeah. I must say I was lost to that.
The views expressed are not necessarily the views of the management of the Street 919 FM.
Yeah, I was a bit lost. But I think he was just trying to give commendations. He could have not referred to the TV program though, because we don't want any calls based on that.
We
But
don't know what's going on.
yeah, because we wasn't listening to Mr. Ali either.
We're not watching the show yet.
Yeah, so tell him to listen to to them back. Yeah. When you do call, because it looked like they block you in truth. Call from another number.
That's probably why he get blocked.
That's what he was saying.
No.
You see, he wasn't getting through to make comments.
Does it block people on the station?
Well, I don't know that is true, but I mean, it stands to reason, unless. But then his phone is maybe giving trouble to her, and I don't know what the arrangement is. Anyway, we think
KFC,
on.
KFC say they just block him too. They didn't think he called anything. KFC
But he has developed a reputation for himself. that could work against you.
Let the man enjoy himself.
Hey, what would we friend Cynthia were? Cynthia, if you're listening to us, give us a call sometime. We miss you. We here for me a while.
You miss you, Miss Cynthia.
I mean, Selvon don't be here so, but Selvon with the Bigfoot self. But Cynthia, we miss you. Give us a call sometimes.
Yes. Mr. Rolex, you accept my reasoning in terms of me agreeing with DJ?
Well, I understand what you say in sentiment, but that was not the question before the JLSC.
Yeah.
The issue before the JLSC was one of inaction based on the guise that it was under not under your remit.
Yes.
But the Constitution clearly says that's not true. It's better you say that they didn't find anything, but you can't say, I can't look at that. Because if you have the power constitutionally to discipline, that doesn't mean you exercise it arbitrarily or frivolously. However, you can't just throw your hands up in the air and say that is not we. Because that is you. That's you. When somebody makes a complaint against a judge, you could examine it and it doesn't have.
You should make
right.
sure that you do a thorough investigation.
Good. And then you could dismiss it.
Yes.
But you can't fail to act by saying, like, brother, we can. Which I think that hands-off approach is what the application by the complainant was about. That they did not. No, he made other applications because he was saying that the course of justice was perverted because one of the judges who he complained about was later promoted. And he sought a declaration from the court remember you have something pending, right? But the judge did not give leave to that reasoning. The judge said, let me go over the first hurdle first.
Yeah,
it's a valid.
I wasn't touching it either.
It's a valid.
They did that. They went behind them for that. He shouldn't get promoted because.
He said that he made that, but he didn't get through with that because no. I think that it's not invalid, but it's the second hurdle.
Yes.
The court say close the first hurdle first. Let's see the merits of your complaint. Then, if your complaint had merit, and we found that there was merit, obviously we have to look at the promotion.
Indeed.
That is when we have to look at it. But for now, we have to leave the promotion as it is. Until we decide, was there merit in your complaints about misconduct? You've made allegations about misconduct. The judge said there's a prima facie case to answer.
Good.
He did say that.
Then you say any judge put it in the JLSC remit now?
Well, he said it is their remit. He said there's enough evidence.
It's your remit. Do your work.
Do your work. That's what he's saying. There's enough evidence. That don't mean the person is guilty, yeah?
Correct. It just means you can't say, nah, boy.
That's what the judge is saying. And the judge is saying, when we cross that hurdle, we will discuss all the relevant issue about promotion. Because if that person was guilty of some malfeasance, then promoting them was the wrong thing to do. Because one of the criteria for promotion would have been a particular track record.
Indeed.
Good? So I guess there's more legal ramblings to come. We have 2 minutes, KFC.
KFC?
Yeah, take KFC.
Finger the king.
You're lucky Mr. Patterson asked you.
Hey, good afternoon, Marcus and you and the team there. The long end of the last caller there. Who blocking the man there, boy? Because for the last night, the man was talking and thinking this program, and I have to come out to talk now. Marcus, To let us try to program here behind the scenes, you know. All you come to do, deal with the righteous and the poor and the privileged, you know.
I don't even know how to block somebody. So I don't get
born on this radio station, I cut track for the radio station to run, you know. Then you can't be playing in the tennis cell.
I don't get involved in that, brother. We don't know how to do that. We new here.
Okay, thanks all. Right, so Senior Madison, 1 minute, take us out.
Yeah, as usual, we are observing the baton, and sometimes we while observing the baton, we go on the field and we look at what's happening on the field, and that's what we've been doing over the last few weeks. We observe the atmosphere and the environment and everything. So, but clearly, this situation that has occupied most of our week thus far, and probably the end of last week, is one so critical that the country need to not only hear our narrative, but to also have their part to say and their role. The outfield and the people in the stand, they have a role to play, right? Definitely. And in situations like these, they have to say something. So clearly, it will continue to occupy. I know tonight there will be some revelation. The stepfather is assisting the police. I think he admit that he would have killed the child, and we await to hear what happens. So tomorrow you will hear us again, and we will certainly delve deeper into the situation.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.